Anthem is a good game to play a little later. Yeah, I'll explain. But before I start, I'm going to be making comparisons to the game Warframe a lot, because obviously I am, and I have 2,353 hours in that game, so it's my frame of reference for looter shooters. I'll endeavor to be as fair as I can, and bring things up I think Anthem does better than Warframe, Archwing, but nobody's perfect. Number 1, movement. Okay, first off, this is a big thing for me, but the movement in Anthem is great. Being able to get to where you want to is the most important thing for me in any game. Not only do I like how the movement works in general, being able to jump around and fly at any time is great and always leads to a fun tactical element in the game. Jetpacks make everything better, but I like how each javelin has an effectively different movement. The Interceptor has this fun little triple dash and triple jump. The Colossus can't dash at all and has this real weighty hover mode. The Storm spends most of his time in the air and has a hover ability on his double jump. And the Ranger just has a normal double jump. My favorite being the Interceptor because the triple dash melee jump combo is super fun to pull off. Shoots you halfway across the map. In comparison to Warframe, I like that the javelins function differently from one another. Every frame of Warframe has a double jump, a bullet jump, the 10-0 dashes. And there's nothing wrong with that, it just makes a lot of the frames feel functionally the same. And it's nice to play a game where there's a few big differences rather than a dozen tiny ones. There's no saying which one is better, but it's nice to change it up every now and then. This brings up the flight in the game as well. Anthem has this heat mechanic where you need to cool off your jets to keep flying. And when you start, you're going to be overheating a lot. But with practice, you just get better at reducing the heat. It's a nice low level of challenge to keep things interesting. Warframe's Archwing, however, can go f*** itself. I hate Archwing. When it's required for something, I just don't do it. I unlocked most of the star map back in the day when you didn't need to do the relays, so I was just thankful that I was spared that. I don't even do the open world zones much in Warframe, because you basically need Archwing, or Zephyr, to get around at a reasonable pace. My key bindings never work for it, and it's just super janky. It's clear it's something added onto the game, and whereas I can admire your ambition, please don't. Man, sorry, I just hate Archwing. What's next? Number 2. Combat. Combat shares the same philosophy of a few big differences, not a lot of tiny ones from the movement section. This is less good than in the movement because, well, not bad by any stretch of the imagination, it does make the javelins come across as a little samey. Like, the builds don't feel functionally different. Whereas in Warframe, you can build your frames, your weapons, in many different ways, adding to the variety of the game, albeit with a confusing mod system for beginners. The builds in Anthem are a bit more straightforward. I'm not getting into all the different gear for javelins, but the Interceptor is the melee javelin that allows for a greater amount of mobility than the others. The Colossus is a slow, tanky one. The Storm is basically a mage hovering in the back. And the Ranger exists. Okay, fine, it's the all-around one, but the Ranger just feels underpowered compared to the other javelins. Overall, I enjoy the combat and the combo system taken from previous BioWare games works well. It's just not the most dynamic of combat systems. Alright, so, story. It was serviceable. As I get older, I find I care less and less about the story in any video game, particularly the lore in games. Here's a dirty secret about lore. Anyone can make up history. Just look at progressives or conservatives. I think white men are good. I think white men are bad. I think white men are good. I think white men are bad. Yeah, they're gonna be going back and forth on this for a while. I think white men are bad. The difficulty in writing comes from making believable characters and people that you can connect with. Having themes that resonate, and explaining a story in a way that's unique to your medium. Prose for writing, cinematography for film, or art for comic books. The story in game with the characters aren't bad. In fact, I would say it's better than average. It's just that I find the world pretty and all, I just don't care much. but there's like a codex and stuff if you care about that. Warframe, same thing. Whatever, don't care. I know it exists, I just don't engage with it at all. Number 4, performance. Okay, this is why I said it's a good game to play a little later. When I start up this game, it plays like a slideshow for like the first 10 minutes. That could be just my computer, I don't know, but there's also poor loading times, which gets annoying. But at the same time, my favorite game of all time is Fallout New Vegas. And those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. That was one of the most buggy games I've ever played. So I have a high tolerance for technical issues. But for a lot of people, that will be an issue. Hopefully the technical issues will be fixed and I can give this a wholehearted recommendation. Until then, yeah, it's a good game to play a little later. So yeah, that was my overall opinion on Anthem. I really like it, but I wish the technical issues would be fixed. Consider this a recommendation if you really like Warframe, but hate Archwing, and you're okay with dealing with technical issues.
You are freelancers.